Hello everyone, welcome to Sutta Study Series. Today we are going to start our discussion on Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta.
Hello Bhante, good evening Bhante.
Hello everyone, welcome to Sutta Study Series. We are going to start our Sutta study on Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. Today is the seventh day into this Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, and we will get started with the salutation to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Welcome everyone again, and today we are going to continue our Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta discussion. And this Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta discussion is a really very helpful one for all of us, as we have been discussing so far about the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. Maybe we can go with this. So maybe we will start with the chanting of this paragraph today. Let me also share with this. Okay, if someone wants to read the Sinhala one, I do have that too. Punacha parang bhikkhave bhikkhu seyatha pipasseya sarirang sivatikaya chadditang ekaha matang va dviha matang va tiha matang va uddhamatakang vinilakang vipubbakajatang so imameva kayang prasangharati ayampiko kayo evang dhammo evang bhavi evang anatitoti iti ajhatang va kaye kayanupassi viharati evampiko bhikkave bhikkhu kaye kayanupassi viharati. So over here in this Navasivatika Pabba, or the section about the 9 charnel grounds, it's a really interesting fact that we are going to learn about our own body, and it really helps us also to let go things, and also to get rid of the attachment that we have, also to deal with the many sensual pleasures, the temptations that we have as mundane human beings. Before that, we were also discussing about, we learned about the 32 factors of the body, the foulness of the body, different, how these body parts, when we practice on those things, it can help improve our own meditation. It can help improve our own realization of the noble truths, the truth of the suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, and the truth of the cessation of suffering, and the truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. They are these studies can be really helpful to all of us. So over here, in Navasivatika Pabba, or the section about the charnel grounds, we learn about the practice about the body. Look at this. Punacha parang bhikkhave bhikkhu seyathapi phasseya sarirang sivatikaya chadditang ekaha matangva dviha matangva tiha matangva uddhumatakang vinilakang vipubbaka. So, moreover, monks, it is as if a monk might see a body thrown into charnel ground. So, a bhikkhave bhikkhu seyathapi passeya sarirang sivatikaya chadditang. So, the body just thrown away to the charnel ground. And maybe after that, ekahamatang means dead for 1 day. And dvihamatang means dead for 2 days. Tihamatang, after 3 days, what happens to the body? Uddhumatakang, it becomes bloated. Vinilakang, it becomes discolored. Nila is like blue color or discolored. And then also, then we have vipubbaka jatang, having become quite rotten. So imameva kayang upasangharati. So he then compares it with his very own body. So thinking, ayampiko kayo evang dhammo, this body also has such a nature. Evang bhavi, such a constitution. And evang anatitoti, has not gone beyond this. Ajhatang iti ajhatang va kaya kayanupasi. This way he contemplates, he dwells contemplating the nature of the body in the body in regard to himself. So the monk, the practitioner, he thinks of his own body like that. And it's really interesting. I was just actually working on this this afternoon, going through some of the details that in America, there are some places in Texas, in some other places, there are some places where the bodies are just, given to those forensic experts, and where they actually leave the bodies outside, and they leave them just rot. It's not really meditational purposes, of course, but it is for other forensic and medical and some anthropological reasons. Sometimes people die, and sometimes suicidal, sometimes murder cases, and bodies are found, and then the medical expertise and the criminal investigation bodies in the country, and they want to investigate into that matter. And then I noticed they have also made it's really remarkable how they have used that thing to rot the body outside, and also they want to protect the body from being eaten by other wild animals, and then the body just rot over there, and later on they take those bones and all, and then they do investigate things. It's really, really interesting. And there are, I think in America, there are like 6 places like that, acres of ground, and you just keep the body outside without clothes and just let them rot. And then they have a structure on it, like a iron structure, so it's not like completely covered, So the body can be naturally decayed. Very interesting. And in the past, even at present, in Buddhist countries, we know that the dead bodies are given to the monks, and they practice on the dead body, decomposing process of the body. So these monks, they know exactly what happens to the body after 1 day, after 2 days, after 3 days. I can show you some of those pictures. They are difficult to see, in fact. So maybe we were discussion, but I can maybe later on I can show you the links. You can also have a look. And there have been a lot of people who have been doing some researches on that. But the monks' practice is completely different. Buddhist monks, they used to go to even to the mortuaries to see the real dead body before they embalm, before the people decorate the body and make it so beautiful and pleasing to the viewers. They go to the real inside out of the body, and then it helps their meditation. Very, very interesting. And monks, they do it, and they also focus on that. Marana Nusati, contemplation on death, is something that is very common among the Buddhist people. And some people don't even like to talk about Marana or death. But in Buddhism, we talk about this impermanence, anicca, the suffering, dukkha, and therefore we have no control. We can't control anything. So it is said anatta. If we have control over that, we should be able to control our decaying process. We should be able to postpone our death. We can do that. I think in the West, sometimes even in some developed countries, they try to postpone the death in different ways. Like maybe you take vitamins, you take supplement, you try to give more life into your body. But how long you still can do that? Can you do it like 200 years, 300, 400? No, right? You still can do it maybe just 100 years, or maybe 120, or even 130, let's say. And even without any of these things, people can still naturally live. If they live a very healthy lifestyle, they can live longer. But still, we have no control. We get sick, we get old, we die, whether we like it or not. So this section of channel ground thing, Navasivatika Pabba, in where we find 9 stages of the body decomposing, is really, really interesting. And let's go into that, and maybe if we have some time, we can also discuss more about that. So over here, Punacha param bhikkhave, moreover monks, Sayyathapi passeya sarirang, just as monk might see, Punacha parang means moreover, bhikkhave, monks, bhikkhu, a monk, Sayyathapi, just as, passeya sarirang, might see the body. Sarira means body. Sivathikang chaddita. Sivathikaya chaddita. Sivathika is the channel ground. Actually, those days they used to leave the body outside, just dump it to the channel grounds in the wilderness. Or they have a separate ground. They just dump the bodies over there. Right now it is different. It's really very fascinating, very fancy, very expensive things. Like here in America, dying is also very expensive. Sometimes it costs like $7,000, $8,000, a few $1,000 for you to, leave the body in the cemetery. It's not so easy. Some people I have seen, they are doing fundraisers for that. For example, I remember in Sri Lanka, we have a beautiful system called Maranadhara Samiti. It's the system that they have established where people have a committee in the village level, community level. They have organized that, and you have to pay just like 5 rupees, 25 rupees, or whatever a month. And then you have to help if someone dies in the community. You have to take care of all the arrangements there. So those people, the committee people, if someone dies in the community, they will provide the coffin. They will also take care of all the people, visitors, and they will give food and take care of the bereaved family for 7 days. And that's, I think it's a really amazing thing, such a wonderful gesture, and that organization is a really good thing. It is still happening in many parts of Sri Lanka. It's a very good thing. You don't have to go for the insurance or whatever. So the people, very simple thing, very minimal thing that you have to do. You have to help the community all the time. That's simple volunteer work over there. But here it's different. And over here, what happens? Punacha param bhikkhave, bhikkhu sayyathapi passeya sarirang, sivathikaya chaditang. They just throw the body into the charnel ground. Those days, not many people in the world, not overcrowded, population was less, so they had a lot of land. They could do that. Ekahamatang, what happened after one day? You just leave the body. It depends on actually the moisture, the weather conditions of that particular area. If it is a place where you have a lot of moisture, then the body decomposition can take in a different way. But if it is really dry, very hot condition, that also can be different place to place. If it is like cold area, body even can stay without being decomposed. That also can be like if it is if you die in the Mount Everest, a lot of people die there too. Sometimes those people who go for Mount Everest, they go for hike and then they die, and those bodies are still like without decomposing because of that intense cold. It can be there. So if it is natural decomposition process in average conditions, what will happen to the body for after one day? And dvihamatang, what happened to the body after 2 days? Tihamatang, ti aha means 3 days after the day. Uddhumathakang, it becomes bloated. And vinilakang, discolored. And vipubbakang, vipubbaka jatang, then it becomes quite rotten. So slowly it can happen. And when you see, even you see this process, it can be really amazing, and it can be really a good, wonderful lesson. Not everyone can do such a thing, actually. If you see these things practice, the monks who are trained enough they can practice. The smell can be very strong, and also the process can be also quite unique. You won't have that if you don't have that ability. You can do that. You need some training for that, for sure. That's a different training. It's really amazing. And then when you think of that, when you see that, then you compare that to yourself. So imang eva kayang upasangharati. He then compares it with his very own body, thinking, Ayampiko kayo, this body also, evang dhammo, has such a nature. Evang bhavi has such a constitution. Evang anatitoti has not gone beyond this. I cannot overcome this situation. Inside the body, if you don't embalm, just without any chemical, inside the body, with or without embalming, it happens anyway. So inside every cell, those cells can be creating some chemical reactions after the body is dead, and slowly started getting decomposing and rotting. And every single cell will be exploded and start getting decayed. And then later on, the outside elements like the worms and all the other things can come, and the body will be completely gone, leaving the skeleton. And that is about the body decomposition. After some years, the bones and all will also become very white color bones. After a year or so, you can see that. That's how the decomposition of the body happens. Very, very interesting. And most of the monks who practice on those 32 parts of the body, and also those monks who definitely practice on Navasivatika, they know everything about upside down, about this body decomposition process. And I remember there are some caves where you offer the dead body to the monks practicing on death, and then they keep it. There is a glass, so you actually don't feel the strong smell of it, but they can see all the process of the decomposing. Very interesting. And so when you keep looking at that, and then iti ajhatang va kaye kayanupasse viharati, in this way, with regard to the body, contemplating the nature of the body in the body internally, regarding himself, he can practice. Bahidhava kaye kayanupasse viharati. Oh, he dwells contemplating the nature of the body in the body externally, that is other people's body. And then ajhata bahidhava kaye kayanupasse viharati. That means he dwells contemplating the nature of the body in the body internally and externally. That means regarding himself and others. So the monk practices both inside and outside, internally and externally. Thinking of himself and thinking of others. When you see that impermanent nature, that decomposing nature, that really helps your practice. And then eventually, Samudaya Dhammanupassī, he dwells contemplating the phenomenon of the origination in the body. And then Vaya Dhammanupassī, contemplating the phenomenon of passing away or the dissolution of the body. And then Samudaya Vaya Dhammanupassī, that means both the origination and passing away or the dissolution of the body. He can practice on that. And Athikayo iti panasa Satipaṭṭhāna hoti, or else mindfulness that there is a body. You can see that there is a body, but not a being is established in him. When you keep practicing like that, that Sakkaya Ditthi thing will disappear slowly. And that conceit, that mana, that attachment will completely evaporate, disappear from you. So you will see the reality of it. And Yavadeva Jnanamataya Patisati Mataya, that will be for the development of the knowledge and the mindfulness to the full. So Jnana and Sati will be complete in you like that. And Anicitocha Viharati, he dwells without tanha. So he dwells without ditti. Of course, when you think of this like that, your craving, your attachment will dissolve, will disappear, and your dogmatic view. What is the point in being so egoistic? What is the point in like strong-headed when you see that reality of your life, reality of others' life? Yeah, that way it will be very helpful to the monk, that he can nurture kinchiloke upadhyate. He can live in this world without any attachment, no clinging. In this world of beings, he does not cling to any form as a being. Evam piko bhikkhave, monk in this way, he too, in this way, bhikkhu bhikkhu khayanupassa viharati. This is another way of contemplating the nature of the in the body. So this is about the kaya anupassana. So we have learned quite a few steps about the kaya anupassana. This is another way. So in this sutta, we also have different again days, like 9 Navasivatika means 9 channel grounds. We'll just quickly go through them. We'll give you a rough idea of those 9 days, what will happen. Dutiyang Sivatikang, this is the second channel ground. I think we have Venerable Chandratissa here today, right? Venerable Chandratissa, do you like to recite this Pali paragraph? Are you able to? Or anyone?
Bante,
Okay.
Bante,
Yeah, Venerable Chandratissa, can you?
Yes,
recite?
Bante.
Okay.
Punacha param bhikkhave bhikkho sayata pipasseya sariram sivatikaya chaditam chaditam kakehi va kajjamanam kulalehi va kajjamanam gijjehi va kajjamanam kankehi va kajjamanam sunakehi va kajjamanam vyagahehi va kajjamanam dipihi va kajjamanam singalehi va gijjehi va kajjamanam suanehi va kajjamanam singalehi va kajjamanam vividehi va kajja Pana kajetehi kajjamanam so imameva kayang upasangharate ayam piko kayo evam dhammo evam bhavi evam evamano titoti iti ajjattang va kaye kayanupassi viharati Evam piko bhikkhave bhikkhu kaye kayanupassi viharati.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so here the most important thing for us to know, like in the second channel ground day, like what happens if you leave the body on the channel grounds, that will be eaten by many wild animals. You can see here, different wild animals will eat the body. And that is what is going to happen on the second day. If you leave the body unattended, definitely that will happen. That is why people today they want to bury the body like around 9 feet or 6 or something feet underground, so the wild animals can't dig anymore. So over here, you can see here, Sayathapi Sarirang Sivatikaya Chaditang, same thing. And then kake hiva kajjamana. Kaka is the crows or even maybe ravens. I've seen here ravens in New Jersey and a lot, a little bigger though. In Sri Lanka, we have smaller ones in the cities and bigger ones in the village areas. So they have a lot there too. So kake hiva kajjamanan, they can eat the bodies. And then kulale hiva kajjamanan means that body can be eaten by the hawks. And then gijje hiva kajjamanan. Gijja is the vultures. Gijje hiva kajjamana, especially um, in the mountain areas, there are a lot of gijjas or vultures. Like Gijja Kota Pabbata, there is a vulture peak in India. So a lot of monks, they used to practice in the mountain areas too. That's again interesting. And then Kanke hiva kajjamana, that can also be eaten by dogs or sunakehi. And then Byagga means this is the other animals like jackals or and DP leopards or cigala, these fox and the other different animals, they can also eat the body. And what happens to that when they eat the body? The other things will remain. This is another condition that can happen to the body. And then also in the Tatiya Sevatika, there are again different conditions happening to body. I think I will just give you a summary of that. When you think of that, and then you eventually think of your own body, and then imameva kayang. So imameva kayang upasanharati. He then compares it with his own very own body, thinking, ayampi kayo evam dhammo evam bhavi evam ananti. This body also will be like that, the same nature. So he thinks of his own body and others' body and his own and others' body, and then also origination and passing away of the body, and both origination and passing away of the body. And then also he will think there is a body, not a being. And he will also contemplate that this is for the development of knowledge and mindfulness to the full. And also it will be helpful for him to continue with his mindfulness without craving and without dogmatic view. And he will be able to live without clinging. This is the contemplating of the body. This is the second. And then when it comes to the other second channel ground, just as a monk, it is as if a monk might see a body thrown into the channel ground. Let me make it a little bit, I think. So skeleton with flesh and blood, bound together by tendons. So the monks see this. This is the second one. He then compares it with his own very body, thinking, this body also has such a nature, such a constitution, has not gone beyond this. So this is the second one. And then he goes to the third one, the third channel ground, skeleton with flesh and blood, bound together by tendons. And then the fourth one, skeleton without flesh, smeared with blood, bound together by tendons. And then the fifth one, skeleton no longer having flesh and blood, bound together by tendons. And in the seventh, or the sixth, the blood, the bones, with the bones no longer bound together, scattered in all directions. with a hand bone here, with a foot bone there, with a knee bone here, with a thigh bone there, with a hip bone here, with a bone of the back there, with a skull here. So you will see the scattered skeletons here and there. And then these are not really days, but they are stages. And then seventh channel ground, having white bone. White bone, this is maybe like a year or so. After that, the body, this completely, when all the flesh and everything is gone, you will see completely white bone, like the color of a conch. And then heap of bones more than a year old, and then rotten bones that have become like powder. Even the bones is not permanent, although they can survive for long years. Some bones can survive, can really like thousands of years, but still everything is impermanent, including that almost very tough bones can completely be gone too. So the monk, when they practice on this, this will be very helpful to him on his practice. Eventually, like not to be attached to anything, not to be having, kind of generating any kind of possession or attachment or conceit. All these things will be gone when you keep practicing on this. So the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta in that way is really very helpful. That is why the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta is helpful to many practitioners. I think this is what I wanted to say that today. And the Buddha, in many cases, Buddha wanted to discuss about that, and he explained to us. And we have Marananusati Bhavana. We think of the Marana as a meditation. So every time Marana can happen to you, we don't know when, where, how it happens, but when the right time comes, it can come to us anytime. So every time we think of all the nature, natural things, we see their impermanence, like the sun and the moon and the flowers. When we offer flowers to the Buddha, we think of that as a meditation on death, because the flowers at the beginning, they are very fresh and very beautiful, very pleasant, but later on that can also be ugly, unpleasant, and that will decay, that will fade. Same thing with our own body. It will be the same. Puppam milayati yatha idame kayo tathayati vinas bhavang. Just as the body decays, so is the flower decays, so is this body. And then it is also said, Ayu usmacha viññānaṁ yada kāyaṁ jahantimang apaviddo tada seti nirathangva kalingarang. So the body, when we have Ayu, the life, Usma, the warmth, and the Viññānam, the consciousness, then we can walk around, we can talk, we can make our body live. But when those three things are gone, the body cannot move, body cannot live, and body will fall down on the floor, just like a dry stick. That is the nature. That is the truth about that. And also it is said, Yuddhangati jayonati sabbe machu paraya. Like we have a situation where we see a yuddha, a war. All of us are involved in that war. Jayonati means no victory. We cannot win that war. All the time we will be subject to death. All the people, the Buddhas, the Arahantas, the Pacheka Buddhas, and all those great monks, and all the great powerful kings, warriors, soldiers, No matter how powerful you are, no matter how educated you are, no matter how rich you are, everyone will be subject to death. So it's really helpful when we think of that, and because we live only for a short time. Our life is not a permanent. And then what is the point in getting angry? What is the point in building our ego? And what is the point in quarreling with each other? Yeah, it doesn't make much sense there. Yes. Susan, you have a question? Hello?
Bante?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, how do we relate when we see the body that's decaying to what will happen to us? Because nowadays, most of us will be cremated immediately almost. It's only in the remote part of the world or remote area like in Tibet, they still use charnel ground, or in Thailand, remote area. But in general, most of us will be cremated, and in a moment's time, we become ashes, except the bones. So how do we relate when we see, the decaying body to see it as impermanence?
You can see it unfortunately here, but yeah, there are, like, even here, as I mentioned, I saw like people going there and seeing these dead bodies decaying, and only few people have access to those places. In what do you call, in Texas, they have that, I think. And
In Florida, also in Florida, one of the best in
yeah,
Florida.
yeah, Florida, I think. This one, yeah, what happens to your body when you die? I
The
saw
body
that. And
farm.
also, yeah, this one, again, the science of human body decay, world's largest body farm. Yeah, those things are there still. We don't, of course, we can have it. But the monk who practices, they have that access to these things. Actually, this is another thing that we have. Yeah, of course, we can have that, but we still can think when we think of the resources that we have. We still can think of it. Of course, we can have that access to the dead bodies and all. Depends on, we still can think of those places and those natural things. When we, that's why I said, when we offer flower to the Buddha, we think of the impermanence. When we offer incense to the Buddha, we think of the impermanence. That sweet, fragrant incense will also be gone. That candle will also be gone. That flower will also be gone. The sun will rise in the morning and it will set in the evening. The night time, the dark will start, and even the darkness will be gone by the morning. And
Yes.
every time we breathe in, that will be gone, and then we start breathe out and breathe in, and we wink. When we wink, we open our eyes, we see the light, and when we close our eyes, we see the darkness. So
Mm.
nothing is permanent.
Yes, those are much better example, Bante. Those are much better example. But to see a body decomposing, I cannot relate to mine, because I know when I
You
die, I
cannot,
will be
as
cremated.
I mentioned, it is not, this one is not to everyone. This is, as I mentioned,
Only
not
for
even
monks.
for average monks.
Okay.
This needs some real special training.
Okay. Thank
Like
you.
the monks who practice in the cemeteries, they have special
Yes.
training. Not everyone can do that.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah, you will be like, you really need some special training for that.
No, I
Yeah,
understand. Thank you.
yeah, that's very important. Yeah, I think just think of that impermanence helps. So that is the most important thing in us, that we need to think of that, and it will help us. We are not going to live forever. Every single day we go, we try to actually, we try to hide it. That is the problem. We grow old and we try to hide it. When you have gray hair, you try to hide that. And when you have wrinkles, you try to hide that. And so all the time, but you still can't do that forever. This body is covered by the skin, and inside it's so many things going on, so many things. So the one who practices, meditate, they can actually see that inside, outside. So the Buddha even said, like, look by not necessarily you have to look outside. Look into yourself. Let's say, for example, even if you can see the dead bodies decomposing, you can see if something happens to you, like you get some small injury or something in your body, you can see how it takes some injuries takes, like scars are still there. You can see, like if you have a blister, if you have some wound in your body due to something, those these things like rotting, and you also don't like the pus, the blood and everything, and then the dark spots that you have afterwards, it will be there for the rest of your life sometimes. Yeah. So that way we can relate those small things to the entire body. That's how it happens. When you have the body, the skin, it covers everything inside. When a little bit of skin opening, you can see inside. It's not so pleasant, right? The food that you eat is so yummy, so refreshing, so delightful, very delicious and amazing. Such good, pleasant look. But once you keep that inside, once you keep it in the mouth, you don't want to take it and enjoy it anymore. You don't want it anymore. That's the truth. And the body parts, hair, for example, you really like it so much. But once the hair starts falling, and you don't want to keep it anymore, you don't like it anymore. Everything about the body and the food that we eat, as I mentioned, it will be rotting later on. And inside the body, that food we don't want to appreciate anymore. Thinking thus, it's to be realistic, to be able to understand the truth is something very special. And that this Navasivatika Pabba is really good for people who have very high egos, and also who have very high drive of very high sexual drive, and also lust, a very strong lust. For them, these things can be really helpful. Different temperaments are there in us, like 6 characters. Raga Charita, it is said, for Raga Charita, the foulness of body, practicing on 32 parts of the body, and these things can be helpful to them to cope up with those temptations, those strong emotions that they have. Yeah. Okay. Venerable Chandatissa, do you have anything?
No, Bante.
Okay.
Actually, if you are able to see the real parts when a body is being the parts of the body, actually that's very important, I think, Bante.
Yeah, very important. Like you have, actually, every one of us have these things in us, but we
have
don't
seen a video.
Yeah,
I have seen a video. The parts are being separated.
Yeah, that's right. Like that's why, like some of the monks, they want to go see them in the mortuaries. They see these bodies, and I think, yeah, when you see this yourself, even we try to cheat the people, right? Like when somebody dies, you want to embalm the body, you want to decorate, you want to make up, you want to give the best dressing. Even before death, they were not wearing such beautiful dressing, some people. And then you still try to cheat the other people. The person who works inside the mortuary, he will deal with all those things. He has like just a body, nothing for that person. Very interesting. Okay. So then,
Bante, I want to share something, Bante.
yes.
There's an exhibition that goes around the world. It's called Body World. Body World.
Mm.
And these are real human bodies and animal bodies that is specially embalmed, but it's not embalmed, like wax, and so people can see the
Yeah,
actual
yeah, yeah.
body.
Yeah,
Body World exhibition.
yeah. Actually, in this world, we always try not to see the truth. We always try to cheat our eyes, try to cheat the others. We don't try to see the reality. That is a big part of our ignorance. Really, a big part of our ignorance. That is why we can get rid of the samsara like that. Yeah. So if we see the reality, I think it will be more helpful to us. Okay. All right. So with that, then we conclude today, and we will discuss more about this later on. I'm going to share this link again with you. Okay. Okay. So what I do is, okay, Kamayachana is forgiveness of shortcomings. This is again a very important practice that we can do. I would like to read the Pali, and I'd like to ask Susan if you can read the English meaning.
Yes, Bante.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today with the Sutta discussion, and we will try to complete the Navasivatika Pabba by next time, and then we'll go to the rest of the Vedana-nupassana, Chitta-nupassana, and Dhamma-nupassana in the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. And again, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you. Hopefully you learned something today for your own practice. And the sutta, I can also share the link again in, let me see. Okay. Okay, I'll share the link. Oh, some people are joining online too. Maria, Ravindra Kumar, Jayanta Fernando, and thank you for joining. And now we are going to conclude our session with the Kamayachana, forgiveness of shortcomings. May you all be well, happy, healthy, safe wherever you are. And may all of us be able to live our life peacefully and comfortably, with good health and with practicing the Dhamma, learning the Dhamma. And let us start the conclusion with the Kamayachana, forgiveness of shortcomings. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang khamame bhangte bhuri panya tathagata.
If by deeds, speech, or thought heedlessly I have done anything wrong, forgive me, O Master, O Teacher, most wise.
Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya khatang acchayang kamame dhamma sanditthika akalika.
If by deeds, speech, or thought heedlessly I have done anything wrong, forgive me, O doctrine, of which the beneficial result would be visible here and now, and the beneficial effects would not be delayed.
Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya khatang acchayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara.
If by deeds, speech, or thought heedlessly I have done anything wrong, forgive me, O Sangha, of who is of good conduct and incomparable.
Anumodana, transferring merits to devas and other beings. It's also very important that we transfer merits to and share the merits with the devas and other beings. Whatever good things that we do, it's always good to share with the rest of the world. It's also a kind of practice, generosity, another level of generosity. So all the merits that we accrued today and before by practicing dana, sila, bhavana, listening to Dhamma, practicing Dhamma, we generated a lot of good karma, and we share this merit with all the devas and other beings. Ettavata cham hi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya.
May all the celestial beings share these merits, which we have thus acquired. May it contribute greatly to their happiness.
Ettavata cham hi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya.
May all the spirits beings share these merits, which we have thus acquired. May it contribute greatly to their happiness.
Ittavata cham hi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya.
May all the other beings share this merit, which we have thus acquired. May it contribute greatly to their happiness.
Okay, now let us also transfer merit to the departed ones. May they all receive this merit, share this merit, be well, happy, healthy, safe wherever they are. Idang me ñātinang hotu sukhetā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātinang hotu sukhetā hontu ñātayo. Idang me ñātinang hotu sukhetā hontu ñātayo.
Let this merit accrue to all our relatives, and may they be well and happy.
Satipaṭṭhāna, aspiration for spiritual friends, another very, very important thing for all of us. Imina punya kammena ma'ame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya.
By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the evil friends, but only the good and the spiritual friends until I attain the final goal, Nibbana.
Nibbana Patthana, aspiration for Nibbana. May we all be able to live our life peacefully, comfortably, and with good health. May all of us be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana, the absolute peace and happiness at the end of our samsara. Thinking thus, let us keep our palms together, close to our heart, and recite this. Idang me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Idang me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Idang me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu.
May this merit leads me to the cessation of all defilements.
Sabba dukkha pamunccato, sabba bhaya pamunccato, sabba roga pamunccato.
May you be delivered from all sufferings. May you be delivered from all fears. May you be delivered from all diseases.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you. See you again next week.
Thank you, Bante. Thiruvan Sarana,
Thank you.
Bante.